Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. I go by Pothead Picker on Instagram. And it's another week in my reselling life. My reselling life. Not to be confused with my 600-pound life. Man, at one point in my life, I was like, man, that would be such a sweet life. You know what I mean? You just eat whatever the fuck you want, whenever you want. I mean, not whenever you want. Somebody's got to bring it over and feed it to you because you can't get off the couch. But it'd still be pretty sweet. You play video games until your arms got too heavy to hold them up. But yeah, I used to tell my wife, like, yeah, that's after our kids are grown up and on their own and shit. That's my life. I'm going to be my 600-pound life. And you're going to be giving me sponge baths and feeding me Reese's peanut butter cups. One at a time, like a bag of chips. All right. So, decent weekend. I went camping this past weekend. So, there was like, I wasn't planning on doing a ton of sales. I was going to just, hit a couple in the area. So we got to the campsite on Friday and got everything set up. My wife took the kids down to the lake once we got the tent set up to play. So I just started unpacking, organizing, getting shit together. I wasn't really drinking a ton of water. So towards the end of getting set up, I started feeling like a slight headache, and I'm like, I'll start drinking some water. So I start pounding waters. I haven't even had a beer or anything at this point. I'm like, I think finally I had a beer. I was like, oh, maybe the beer will make me feel better. It did not. So I had that, barely finished that one. I had to open another one. I think I had a couple sips of it, and I was like, I'm done. And then, so we were hanging out. I made dinner, and then while I was cooking dinner, I started getting a fucking headache. Nothing tasted good. I couldn't eat. I was like, this shit just I started feeling nauseous. Got crazy headache came on. And supposedly there's a migraine. I don't know. I've never gotten one of these things before. I thought I've had a migraine, but this was this is what I was told it was. It was told it was a migraine. And so, yeah, I the first day, I couldn't, when my two girls went to bed, I went to bed too. I was in bed before my kids. And, yeah, I just I had to just lay. I couldn't do anything. I felt like absolute dog shit. And, yeah, so that sucked. Luckily my kids were already asleep. It wasn't it was the next day. So then I went to bed, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Was sleeping in and out, still just kept waking up with a headache. And finally, and I had drank liquid IV and drank a bunch of water. So I don't know if my hydration finally caught up, but I kept having to get up to piss because I was like, fuck, because I was so dehydrated. I drank a bunch of shit, and it all just kind of once I broke that seal, it's like when you're drinking beers all day and you fucking don't have to piss until you hit that first piss, and then it's over. It's a wrap. You're just pissing every 2 seconds. So that's what happened. It was I started having to piss every 2 seconds. So I had to keep getting up. It sucked every time I got up. My daughter wanted to get up to go potty a couple times. That's what you say, potty. So, And so that shit sucked. So then the next morning I woke up and I felt fine. I was like, fuck yeah. But right before bed I had checked, and there was a yard sale that had been posted. And it had a bunch of video games. And I was like, oh. And I should have sent them a message, but I couldn't even see straight. You know what I mean? I was like, it fucking sucks. I was like, I'll just go in the morning. And I get there. I'm first person there. And they're still just setting up. And I'm like, hi, I'm here. I was interested in the video games you put in your ad. He's like, oh, I sold those to somebody on Facebook the other day. Yesterday. And that's so you leave your yard sale signs up is just as bad. That's one of my bigger yard sale pet peeves is putting pictures in an ad and then not having that item, or like I told you guys a few weeks or a few months back, I forget, about the guy who just put random pictures of records and was like, oh, that's probably just a stock photo that I used. Like that's not how this works, motherfucker. You put pictures up of what you have and people come to fucking buy it. And so this guy was like, he's like, yeah, I haven't had a chance to take the pictures down. I'm like, you got time to answer the message of the person who bought the shit, and you had time to meet them before your yard sale. So why didn't you have time to change it? You know what I mean? Update it. I was like, I'm not the only one who's going to be here annoyed. And here's the thing. Normally I'm not entitled to shit. I'm like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But when I'm getting up and fucking driving over to your sale because you have something in the picture and I'm the first one there and you tell me that shit's already been sold, like, go fuck yourself. So I just told him, I was like, yeah, you should take your pictures down. And I just kept like reiterating, like, past a certain point, you can't just stand there and be like, before, you know what I mean? It's just like, you just call him a dick and the fuck out. So, but on the way there, I saw another yard sale. So I was like, all right, all's not lost, So I go over to this yard sale and there's like shit everywhere. And they've got like a ton of DVDs, like just boxes and boxes and boxes of DVDs. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go like through these little by little and just kind of, so there's nobody else here. Their sale's supposed to start at 9. They didn't put up an ad, nothing. So I didn't know what time they started. I just saw them on the side of the road, asked if they were open. And so I'm picking through and, hold on, I gotta pause this real quick. I gotta help my daughter with something she's doing. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Sorry. My kid's pretty much potty trained, but she's like, now she's using the potty in her room when she's resting. And so she sometimes uses our bathroom, not our bath, but like the main bathroom. And that time she chose to use the potty in her room, and it's like a little plastic one that you just have to clean out. And she chose like the wettest shit ever. So I was just like, I just went to dump the shit out and it just kind of like slid down the side. It was so gross. I'm sorry. But that's just why I just had to pause and go deal with that real quick. So I'm back. Anyway, so I got to the second sale and they had a bunch of DVDs and CDs. I found the CDs after I was going through like the DVDs. The DVDs weren't anything great. It was a lot of like old TV shows, not like the good old TV shows, like the ones you get at like the cheap dollar store, like those type of DVDs. And then just random shit. But then they had like a ton of hip hop CDs. I had to go through them all because like half of them were missing, and then the other half were like burned CDs, like the ones that people had made copies of. But there was like still a ton of good CDs that like they're all in really great shape. And then there was some rock CDs too, so I grabbed those. Then I found some video game stuff. There's like another bag. Like there was just shit everywhere. Like this dude is clearly a hoarder, and he kept all the shit in his truck because I could hear him talking. And I was talking to his wife or his girlfriend or whoever she was. And I was like, oh, you're going to give me a good deal for buying all these CDs? And she's like, I'll make sure he does. So, like, once it came time to negotiate, like, he was starting at $200. And I'm like, I just got a bunch of DVD, like, CDs. And, like, this dude's like, yeah, you could sell these for, like, I usually sell these for $2 to $3 a piece. And I'm like, yeah, that's, like, how much I'm going to sell them for. Like, I don't sell, like, these CDs don't sell for what you think they're going to sell for. Like, I'm like, I pay like pennies on the dollar for these things, and then I sell them for $2 to $3. Like, that's how it works with this media. Like, and so we go back and forth, and like, I'm just kind of busting his balls. We're like, they were cool, but then it gets to the point where I pay. So we were like, I wanted to pay $80. He wanted me to pay like $120. So I was trying to get him to settle on $100, and he was like, because he came down from $200. So I was like, let's just do $100, like split the difference, whatever. And he's like, no, 120, you're robbing me. You're taking this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, I don't think this stuff goes for what you think it goes for. Like, I do this all the time. Like, there's a reason why I'm trying to, like, I'm so adamant about talking you down $20. Like, and, so like the wife comes by and I was like, hey, I thought you said you were going to tell him to give me a good deal. And she's like, yeah, give him a good deal, blah, blah, blah. And so like, I was like, don't you want to be able to take her in your truck? I just heard you say you can finally see your truck seat for the first time in I don't know how long, whatever. And so like, we're joking or whatever. Finally, I'm like, all right, I'll pay whatever. I was like, and so we did it. And then he starts like taking shit out of my pile after I had paid him. I was like, no. So then I got like heated because like before we were fucking around, you know what I mean? But then I'm just like, no. Like, I just paid you for this shit. Like, you're not going to fucking start taking shit out of my pile. It was like a plastic cup that doesn't sell for shit, but still, that's not the fucking principle. He's like, I didn't see this stuff. I'm like, I walked over to you. My pile's been sitting there. I was like, ask your girl. Like, I've been making this pile. Like, I told you when I walked up, I said, this is it. And I said, oh, and this backpack. Like, I told him everything that was there. We even had a conversation about the backpack because I was like, oh, now I can carry a bunch of the CDs out and I won't have to make a bunch of trips. And so like we talked about all this shit and then he's like trying to be like, oh, I didn't see this. And so then I got fucking heated. And then I kind of went back into like joke mode because I was like, all right, whatever. Like, it's not, this dude's not taking this shit. I took it back because this girl came over and was like, give that stuff to him. Like, what are you doing? Like, he fucking paid for it. Like, what? Like, this guy was a fucking hoarder. Like, you could tell. He had so much shit, it wasn't even funny. It was like, and it was all his. And, like, I thought somebody died. And she was just like, no, this is all his shit. I'm like, man, if I'm ever that bad at selling shit, like, I mean, you're a hoarder at that point. Anyway, so then he's like, oh, do you want a bag? I was like, I don't know. You're going to charge me for it? And they both started laughing. And that was kind of like the last little joke that we had on the way out. But I did get heated in the middle of that. Like, we had already fucking agreed on a price. And then he's trying to take shit out of my pile and tell me he didn't see. He's like, how'd this get in there? I'm like, this is the fucking pile. Like, you should have looked at it. You were so worried about the fucking the CDs that you, like, didn't even look at all the other shit. Like, this was the pile. I didn't change anything. I'm standing here fucking talking to you. Like, the fuck are we doing here? So I should make some decent money on it. Like, I'm not going to clean up like this dude thought I was going to do, but I'll do all right. There's a couple sealed video games in there, but unfortunately there's 4 sealed video games and 2 out of the 4 have like little cuts in the seals, like little holes. So they're not going to go for as much, but they'll still be, pretty solid. But yeah, I was just like, dude, he started taking shit out of my pile. I'm like, dude, what the absolute fuck do you think you're doing? So at that point, I'd been there for so long. I was hot. I was ready to go. Like, my wife was calling me because she was still at the campsite. It was only like, at this point, it was only like 8:15. Like, it was early in the morning. And so yeah, I got that stuff anyway. And so like got into it 2 people at 2 different yard sales. And the only 2 I went to that day. You know what I mean? And then I went back to the campsite and was just like, all right. And we had a fun day. So yeah, Saturday I got back, made breakfast. Of course, I was like, anytime I wake up and I don't feel like shit, like after feeling like shit the day before, I just like, I'm always in such a good mood. I'm like, dude, I don't feel like shit. I went to a yard sale, got into it with a few people. I like getting into it. I don't like not like getting, I don't like, I don't set out to get into it with people, but when it happens, I'm not like one of those people that's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't let it like ruin my day. And like when it happens, I'm so used to doing it. Like, you know how when you like get into a situation where you're like, when you get kind of worked up or whatever and your nerves start taking over and you start fucking up like your words. And I do that sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just, you can't help it. But most of the time, if I'm getting into it with somebody, it's about something I really don't give that much of a fuck about, but it's like something principled. And so I can keep my calm and just, it's usually really easy to like get the other person upset, because that's really the goal, is to just get the other person more upset and then ruin their day, and you just go on with your day and you completely forget the shit happened. You know what I mean? So, but here I am talking about it on a podcast a couple weeks later, so a couple days later, not weeks, but sorry, it happened. So then come back, make breakfast, feel fucking phenomenal. Went down. There's like a little beach you can go, and our friends had put all the fucking beach stuff down there early in the morning, so our spot was all set up. So I went down, played with my kid in the water all day. Well, for like the first half of the day. Then we went, did like a little break, went and got some lunch. Cause they had like a little car show, which is cars to me. It's I'm not really into cars, you know. It's kind of gay, but if you are, hey, more power to you. No, I think they look cool and shit, but I'm not gonna like, oh, look at this fucking engine. It's fucking. She really does purr, you know. I don't give a shit. It gets me to point A to point B. There are like, my ideal cars are like anytime the cars that get me most pumped are like there's a car in the area that's it's not Jurassic Park. It might be the Ghostbusters car. There's a car that drives around the area that looks like the Ghostbusters car. Like any cars from movies, that's the shit that gets me excited. Like I've seen like Jeeps that look like the Jurassic Park Jeep. Like that type of stuff gets me. I'm like, oh, that shit's cool. You know what I mean? But like, you could have a cool, like muscle cars are fucking cool too. You know what I mean? But I just, yeah, it's not like, I don't seek out car shows. So like a car show is just like, all right, it's happening on the campground. It's, you know, there's going to be, you know, food, things to do. So we went, we got some lunch. Lunch was pretty good. And then they had like snow cones, like Hawaiian ice or whatever the fuck it's called. Or it's just ice and then like fucking blue and like red dye shit, sugar shit. The shit I was talking about last week, I think. That's the shit they put on it. So we had some of that. We shared that, me, my wife, and my kids. And then, went back to the beach and then hung out for a little bit. And then the next day there was another yard sale. So there was like a couple on the way home. The campground was only, I think it was 13 minutes from our house. So there was another sale that was Sunday only. So I got to that one. They were starting at like 9. I think I got there at like 9:45. And as soon as I walked in, I saw they had like a vintage Patriots jersey. Because you can tell, like, you know, and it was Champion. It was really nice condition. And then I got, right next to that was like a pair of vintage New England Patriots Zubaz pants. Like those crazy designs from like back in the day. And, so I got those, and I'm like, I get them in the car, I'm driving, and it didn't cost me that much. I think it was like $4 each. And then I start to smell cigarette smoke. I'm like, fuck me. And sure enough, yeah, both the jersey and the pants smell like cigarette smoke. Pretty sure I can get them out. My first attempt was minorly successful, but I got to look up something else to get it out, because it's like, yeah, you can still smell it. On the pants, you can't. The jersey you still can, because it's like that mesh cloth, not mesh, but like what the old school jerseys used to be made of, which is just like thin mesh material. So like the cigarette smoke sticks in that shit for some reason. But yeah, so that was cool. I didn't expect there to be much stuff, but Sundays are usually slower. And then I went to another sale that was like, supposed to be happening, and I just couldn't even find it. And then there was like one more sale that I went over and checked out, and I don't even think they were having it. I think that theirs were like, so it was just like 2 out of the 3 sales didn't even end up having it. But I did get something at the first one, so that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, when I got back, I just wanted, like, normally I get back from camping and I'm like, fuck, man, I just want to relax. So I got back Sunday, and I was, we only went Friday, and I didn't do shit Friday. Friday, I just slept the whole time. So Saturday was really the only day we did shit. So Sunday, I was like, well, I have plenty of energy, so I like emptied the whole car. Because when you have kids, it's like you just get so used to sitting in like a mess. Because it's like you clean it, and then it's a fucking mess in 10 minutes. Like, we spend every night cleaning the house, and then the next morning in 5 minutes, they fucking destroy everything. So I figured I'd catch up on some cleaning. So I cleaned out both cars, like detailed them, scrubbed them out, wiped them down, vacuumed, got the shop vac out. So I did both cars because it had all the camping, mud and all that shit. So I wanted to get it cleaned up for that. And then I put all the camping shit away, and I was like, fuck yeah. So the next day I was pretty pumped because I didn't have to do any of that stuff. Yeah, so it was nice. Didn't have to worry about it. But it was a good time. We had a good, fun weekend. My kids had a blast. We rented a golf cart, so that was fun. They, love driving around in it. Anytime I'm like, I just got to go do a little thing, they, wanted to jump in and ride with me. So that was fun. And, yeah, now we're back in the real world and living life. I'm sitting here staring at that fucking bag of marbles, man. I need to figure out how to sell marbles. I did find that one video, but I still haven't watched it. I'm so behind on all that shit. I've got 4 projects just sitting on my table right now. 1/4 of the table is always taken up by some of my shit. It's stuff that I'm trying to go through. And yesterday, so I wanted to do a podcast yesterday, and I talked before about how we're trying to clean up my fucking credit debt. And so we decided, we're like, all right, we're just going to take some money out of our savings and pay one of the cards off. So that way I only have 2 payments. And I had already closed my account. And so we sent it to the account that was closed. Not even thinking. I was like, oh, And so the money was kind of stuck in there. I couldn't transfer it. I couldn't send it. So I had to go into the branch, which was part of the reason I'm closing it, because they started charging me monthly fees, and there was none of those banks around. So I went into the branch. I had to go into the branch to withdraw the cash. And so she was just going to give me the cash. And then I was like, but I didn't want to have that much money on me because it was, it was in a sketchy neighborhood. You know what I mean? I had to drive to go get there. It was next to a rent-a-center and a liquor store. It was the same plaza. You know what I mean? And they're just going to hand me a ton of cash. I have to walk out. So luckily she was able to just take the payment right there. So I didn't even have to touch the cash. She just basically paid that shit, gave me my change, which was a couple things of cents. And then boom, 2 accounts done. And then, but yeah, so I had to drive and do that. So that took an hour that I wasn't planning on, which was my that's how quickly I lose the time to podcast. Is a 1 hour convenience will throw off the day so much that I can't podcast until the next day. So that's why if I miss a podcast, it's it's not because I want to, it's because some shit has come up, some shit that I did not foresee. And yeah, got a fantasy football draft this weekend. I had to drop out of one league, but I think we're going to go back. I think we're just going to take a year off. I like doing that league, but it's hard because everybody in that league is all over the place. This league is we actually see the people, so it's kind of, it's easier to get into, and then we're not kind of competing against ourselves because I only have one league this year, so I can just, it's going to be fun. It's back to the old days when I first started fantasy football, where I just would do one league because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I would do a lot better. So, yeah, this year I've already done a mock draft. I'm going to do another mock draft. And then, yeah, dude, on to fantasy football season. So I'll give a little update of how I'm doing each week. But spoiler alert, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. What else? I don't want to go to my phone yet because I feel like I don't need to quite yet. As far as sales go this weekend, so I'm a little optimistic. So there's a sale that's it was posted on Sunday to the newspaper, okay? So literally, I don't think anybody checks the newspaper anymore. Some people do for yard sale stuff, but I don't think a lot of people check it. And so there's an ad in there for a yard sale this weekend, but they haven't posted it anywhere else. And it was posted on Sunday, which means that they probably put it in there on Sunday, you know what I mean? Thinking it would be a Sunday, it would be in the Sunday paper. Not thinking oh, it's going to be on their online. It's not thinking it's going to be on their online, what's it called? What the fuck was I just talking about? I just completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, I don't even know what the fuck I was just talking about. I just completely lost my train of thought. That happens sometimes on this show. I got a text message and it was a text message about some stuff I'm supposed to go pick up tomorrow. And so, that's when I remember, yeah. So online, duh. So yeah, so they probably thought like, oh, I'm putting this ad in the newspaper, and it'll just be like an ad in the newspaper on Sunday, not realizing like that they post it online too. Like when you're paying for the ad on the newspaper, they also post it to their website, the classifieds. And so I'm hopeful and I'm optimistic that this is going to be. It's been a while since I've had a good yard sale where like what I consider a good yard sale is you got to have a combination of a few things. Okay. So the things that make a yard sale like obsolete, I guess. Not obsolete. That's the wrong word. Fucking idiot. And I'm trying to write this down so I don't forget. Let's say top tier. So the things that make a yard sale top tier. So I would say early start time. Like the earlier the better. I went to a sale one time. It was the fucking best, dude. It was at 6 a.m. This guy had a sale. He was a pastor, and it was a church sale. It was like 10 minutes from my house. And so he had a sale at 6 a.m. And so I, as an early bird, I got there like 5:15. He was already set up, like completely set up. Was cool with people shopping. You know what I mean? He was getting ready to go on like his, I guess like the pastors take a vacation or some shit. I don't know. The church pays for it. A sabbatical, I think it's called, something like that. And so I got some like vintage Christian rock band like concert t-shirts, like bands I recognize because I went to youth group back in the day. Little known fact, I was a little Christian boy. Nah, I just went because my friends went, and I was never like, I was always a little like, I tried to get into it, but then I was always a little like, the thing that really was the part that I couldn't get into is just like I'm not gonna stop jerking off. You know what I mean? That was literally, I remember hearing like oh God, like God watches you like Santa Claus, like, well, he's gonna be watching me jerk off. You know what I mean? That was my thought process. Now I'm a little bit more like respectful. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. So I'm not what's it, atheist? I don't think I'm an atheist. I just don't really know. You know what I mean? And I'm okay not knowing. I don't have to join a belief system to not know some shit. I can be fucking retarded too. Anyway. So, yeah. So like 6 a.m. start time. Dude let me come in early. There's other shoppers there too. And I got to go before my wife left for work. Like my wife had to work that day. So I went to that sale, came home. My wife was still at the house. Said bye to her. Then I got the kids up and went to the later round of yard sales. And I'd already been to a yard sale, you know what I mean? So earlier the start time, the better. I hate 9 a.m. start times. I hate staggered start time. Like I hate when like there's a community yard sale and some people do 10. Like just all, like sometimes I like it because it's like, yeah, you can hit a few. But if a majority are doing like similar times, I don't know. It's tough because like sometimes it's like, yeah, you want to do a sale where it's like, all right, I don't want to miss any sales, so it's nice that they're staggered. But then there's also times when you're like, oh, I'm done at this sale, and I can't even get to this next sale because they don't start for 2 hours. You know what I mean? When people are out shopping for yard sales. So that stuff, the late yard sale time is going to make you a lower tier yard sale for sure. Like if you're And I've started at like 9 before, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but I've always been willing to open up early unless I had, unless I don't have a babysitter. That's always been my thing. It's like I need a babysitter to watch my kids while I'm doing a yard sale if my wife's not home. So the next thing this yard sale that's in the newspaper, it only says, what does it say? It says no sales before 9. So it doesn't say no early birds, but like I can shop before 9, right? You just won't take my transaction. But most of the time people are like, once you show up, they're not going to tell you to fuck off. Like most people, and like they'll put that, and then once the actual time comes, again, confrontation. You know what I mean? Once the time comes, they're not going to want to like get into it. And if you're nice and you're just like, hi, just wondering if you're open. Like I'm always nice. Some people just walk up and start touching shit. I'm like, I'll walk up and ask, and then be like, are you okay with me taking a look? And like anytime you do that, most of the time they're fine. Occasionally, like, nah, you got to come back. And then I go, well, I'm supposed to be heading out of town, blah, blah, blah. And I always make up some bullshit. And they usually let me look, you know what I mean? Depends on how far along. Like, if they're not set up at all, I'm not going to push the issue. But if, like, they're pretty much set up, it's like I can be on one side of the yard sale while you're on the other, and you won't even fucking know I'm here. Like, the fuck is it? Like, again, I'm not going to get into all that. We're talking about what makes a good yard sale. And just hoping, like, that putting this out into the universe, all these things will, like, I'll hit the trifecta or whatever of yard sale stuff. So the other thing would be, time. And then when you get there and you're the only one there, like, that's always a top tier yard sale experience. When you're just there and you're not even worried because you're like, of course, anytime a car pulls down the street, you're like, oh, fuck, what haven't I seen yet? You know what I mean? I try to do a once over to see what all, like, if there's a couple things I can grab right off the bat to start a pile. And then I'll, like, if I have to dig into stuff, I'll make sure I've gone through everything and looked at everything else first. Because ideally, you want to just make a pile and just be like, all right, put as much shit into your pile as you can before other people get there. But that can backfire, you know what I mean? Especially if, like, as somebody who has a yard sale, and I know, like, some of the bins I've put out there, they're not, like, dog shit bins, but it's like if you go through it, it's like you're not going to make a ton of money. You might at a yard sale, a flea market. You might at a flea market selling it, but it's going to take you a while. And, like, so, like, yeah, a lot of times you got to kind of dig through, and it's nice when you don't have to worry about anybody coming and fucking digging with you. And I've had one lady one time just, like, dig in my bin. Like, I was in a bin, and this lady comes and, like, and so I did this. And I had a pile of wrestlers. That's what I found, some wrestling figures in this bin. And so I start taking them out and, like, putting them in my pile. And this lady comes over and just starts, like, digging through the bin. Like, so she's pushing stuff into where I'm digging. So it's like, at this point, I'm, like, getting annoyed. And so she's like, oh, is there anything that, like, you're looking for? That I was like, well, I've got a pile of wrestlers right here. And she has a wrestler in her hand. And I go, oh, yeah, I'm going to take that one too. And I took it from her. And she just kind of had this baffled look. And I was like, yeah, you can look after I'm done, though. And, like, just kind of did that. And she kind of backed off a little bit. But she was, like, completely just got in and she was like this old white lady. Not even an old white lady, but, like, older white lady. And she pulled up in a Mercedes and just, like, started digging in my bin. I was like, the fuck out of here, lady. Back in your Mercedes, all right? This is where the fucking trash digs, okay? And so, yeah. Again, confrontation. I don't have any problem with it. So, yeah, you don't have to worry about people digging in your shit. They're just kind of, you can kind of go as you want to. It's a lot easier. Well, hold on a second. My daughter's fucking around for a second. Hold on. All right, I'm back again. Sorry. Oh, my daughter had one of those slap bracelets, and she, like, ripped the thing apart and was like, can you fix this? No, what the fuck? It's destroyed. I don't think the manufacturer could fix it at this point. So, yeah. And then she's wanting to come down from her rest. It's been like 30 minutes. She's supposed to be doing like a 40-minute one at school, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully she does it better. It's getting to the point, like, because, I obviously I've been with my daughter, like, being stay at home her entire life. So she's the person I've spent the most time with. I mean, I've spent like one-on-one in the past few years. And I love her a lot. I'm going to miss her. But in like a week ago, I was like, man, I don't really want her to go back to school, go to school. Because it's like, she did daycare 1 day a week. This is 5 days a week. And so I'm like, man, I really don't want her to, go back to school. I'm going to miss her. But now I'm to the point where I'm like, yeah, dude, you need to go to school. You need to go hang out with some friends and fucking do some shit, dude. And just, it's like, school can't come quick enough. No, I will still miss her, but yeah, she needs to have some fun with some friends. So anyway, top tier yard sales, top tier. That'd be a good name of like if you had a yard sale company, top tier yard sales. I'm sure there's like a top tier estate sales. So early access, like day of. I'm not talking like before. Like obviously if you're allowed into a yard sale before, that's always cool, because then somebody shows up to the sale and the stuff's gone and they get pissed like me. The circle of life, it happens to you. It happens sometimes, and I don't really hold any ill will, but I like to cuss the people out at the time of. And all right, so the next one. So let's see, we got early bird status. Being able to shop at a leisurely pace. What else? Good prices. When you're just like, you pick something up and they start saying 10 cents. Anytime they say anything under 25 cents, 25 cents still. If they say 25 cents on something, that's good. But like if they start, like, how much is this? I don't know. How much is this bookmark? And they're like $5. You're like, oh shit. So, good prices. So this is all the stuff that has to come together to happen. And then they've just got like a ton of shit, you know what I mean? Ton of shit that you want. So like, yeah, there's one sale last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, it must have been 2 years ago now. Man, that sucks. So it's 2 years ago, and like I walked up and it was up the street and they didn't post their sale anywhere. They just had a sign. And so I walked up and they had a little basket of old toys. And so I started going through it. And that was like, I just walked into the sale and the lady was like, oh, if you like those toys, you like these old Transformers I got. And so I looked over and there's just a box of all like in the on card Transformers toys. They were like the little ones. It's like Series 2 or something, but it was like the little micro Transformer figures. But she sold me the box. And so I was like, oh, how much do you want for all of them? And she was like, oh, $50. And I was like, I'll do that. I sold like one of them for like, I think I sold, there was like about 8 probably like 6 or 7 bumblebees. And those were the most expensive ones I remember. I forget how much. I think I got 100 and something for one of them maybe. And then like they all kind of went between like 80 and 90, except for like one, the first one that went, because it was like, these ones weren't on there in that condition. And so I was still at the sale, and I'm like, oh, you don't have any video games? And like, you know what? We actually have a PlayStation, and I think they're bringing some other games out. And they brought out another tub of like Super Nintendo stuff. That's where I got like a lot of my Super Nintendo games, was that collection. So I was like, fuck yeah. So I bought like that. I got a couple other odds and ends, but like that was like enough to be like, oh, my day's almost. Like I sold one of the figures for like the random figures that I got at the beginning that she was initially started the conversation of. I got like, $50 to $60 for one of those. And so like that was an awesome sale. And then I went from that sale to another sale. And that sale was in like a neighborhood that I go to their sales every year, and I find a couple things, but not a ton of shit. And this lady had like 3 boxes of video games. So I got those that same day. It was just like one of those days that was just like hitting every single sale. I haven't had that in a while. But this sale, I don't know. I got a good feeling. I don't want to get my hopes up though, because a lot of times you get your hopes up for a sale and then they suck dick. You get there and it's a bunch of bullshit. They don't let you shop early. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so buying in bulk is another good one. Like you hit a sale, we can find some bulk items for cheap. I feel like I'm missing some shit. If there's a hot chick there, that's a plus. That doesn't have to be like that though. That doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally you get some honeys on the yard sale trail. I would tell my wife this stuff too, so don't don't go snitching on me. You can snitch, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, so I think that might be, I don't know, I can't think of any more. If I think of some, I'll come up with them. I haven't really thought about yard sale punishments in a while though, and I followed one the other day, followed one of those signs, and I was like, you motherfucker. It was from like a few weeks back. But man, you could put like, do we say waterboarding for that? You could like waterboard them with lemonade or something like that, like yard sale themed waterboarding, lemonade boarding. That would suck. It would sting. And be sticky. That'd be the worst, is you just pour shit on them and then just leave them to sit because they get sticky and you can't get that sticky shit out of your hair. It's all sugar and chemicals that they put in all our shit. Just stuck to your fucking face after you, like, I just left my yard sale sign up. I'm sorry. My wife got sick. I couldn't get out there. Like, all right, let me go to my handy dandy Google Notes. Okay, so I went over weekend yard sales. Yeah. I wrote down bank fees, but I don't know why I put that on there. I mean, I just got started getting charged bank fees, and that kind of pissed me off. But I get it, it's a corporate bank, but it was like 5 years that it was free, and then apparently it said in the fucking thing that after 5 years, they start charging me $12 a month. I was like, yeah, no, you can close that shit. No, thank you. And yeah, so now I'm just like waiting for this account to close, because they're like, if any funds go into it, it restarts the closing process. And I already sent money into it like an idiot, so now it's got to like restart. And so it's just kind of a whole thing that they can't just close the account down. It's like it's got to take 3 days. So yeah, I just, and I don't use that account enough to pay fucking $12 extra a month. So they got me for like a few months before I realized, and I'm like, fuck you. Should have asked them for some money back first. I'm like, hey, you give me some fucking money back. They might have done it, and then I could have been like, all right, I'm closing it. All right, that was the other one. So Whatnot. All right, so I think I'm going to do a Whatnot auction. I'm going to start with, I think, comic books, potentially. I don't want to do I'm going to do a toy accessory one at some point. I don't want to do that one as my first one. The comic books, I like to do like independent comic books. I have a ton of independent comic books that I got for pretty cheap that I can just like easily do in a Whatnot auction. They're cool shit. It's like horror and like, it's also all independent. So I think that'll be the perfect first one. So I think I'm going to do that one. Fuck, I don't have a calendar. Let me get my calendar out. I think that one will be on September. I'm going to shoot for the weekend of September 20th, because I've got some other shit going on those other weekends. And I think my wife is off that weekend too. So that way it'll be a little bit easier to do, like, to ship shit out, and because it'll be my first one. So I got to get a little bit more educated on Whatnot. I've only watched like one or two sales or shows on Whatnot. So those will be the first ones. I'm going to do that. And then I'll probably do a yard sale around that time too, and just blow out a ton of inventory, because I still have a ton of shit to get to, and I'd like to clear a bunch of space. So yeah, just keep an eye out, an ear out for that. Oh yeah, the other day, man. Do you ever just like watch a video that just ruins your day? So I this always like it pops up, and it doesn't always get me, but some of them, like the reels, Facebook reels, and they've been getting me a lot with a bunch of like nonsense, just because I'm trying to see like who would actually believe this stuff. Like there was like just the videos that have been popping up of like there was a bad AI video, and you can tell. I mean, it's getting closer where you can't, but you could tell like this was AI. It was supposed to be like this octopus and had like these big fucking eyes, like, and this crazy mouth, and it was like clearly not anything that actually exists. You could tell it was like some type of AI generated image, and so yeah, so they get me sometimes with those little clickbaity things. And so there was one video that said like the headline was like it said like she didn't know her babysitter wasn't allowed around kids. So I was like, okay, that's an interesting title. Like, and normally they're quick. Normally they're like 50 to a minute like long. And so this one, I don't know if it like went to the next video or something, but this video starts and it's a long video. It's like 5 minutes, which is like long for an internet video when you're just starting your day and you're like, oh, I'm just going to watch a quick 30-second video. Get my brain going. Get my brain going. And so the video starts. It's like this Asian girl, and she's doing like talking about like this case that happened with this woman who was watching this kid. And so long story short, this kid is like killed by this babysitter. Like the babysitter kills the kid. It's a little baby Benson. They keep saying the kid's name, baby Benson. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at like the situation. It's just like the amount of times they say it and the amount of like people in the comments that are like, sorry, baby Benson. It just reminded me of Baby Billy from what the fuck's that show? I can't remember anything anymore. I can't remember the name of the show. The show that I watch with the people. And Danny McBride. I can't fucking remember, for the life of me remember right now. There's too many shows. Anyway. So Baby Benson. And this lady apparently like wasn't supposed to be around kids. And so somebody had like let her watch their kids. And so they have all this different footage. And I wanted to watch a 30-second video. And like now I'm involved in the whole, and so like I get like a minute in and I'm like, well, I already watched a minute. And so she's going on and on about how like they bring this kid to McDonald's while he's dead. Like they think that the kid was dead, like, and they're in the McDonald's with this kid. And like it was just a very depressing and very sad video, especially if you have kids. And then you find out like that this chick wasn't supposed to be around kids, and like this whoever the mom like let her watch her kid, and so like yeah, it's just all very sad. And so that and then the whole fucking day I was just like thinking about it, and Baby Benson would pop into my head, dude. It would just be Baby Benson and just the worst. Now I'm gonna be thinking about it all day today. But yeah, it was like one of those videos that just started my day off, and it was just like very sad. And then like I'd think about it every couple minutes, be like, man, fucking poor Baby Benson. Never had a chance, And just that was the whole day. Just spent thinking about some kid I never met because I watched an internet video. And by the way, I haven't even verified that actually happened. Like this could have been another AI generated thing that was just like, you know what, you're gonna watch this sad video and you're gonna like it. So we've been watching a few different shows. These are just all the things I have written down because I've kind of run out of shit to talk about, but I've got a list of topics to bail me out, and luckily we only needed them for the last 20 minutes because we were able to get through the whole thing without them. But we've been watching this show. It's called Hacks on HBO, and it's all right. I mean, it's got like a lot of the fucking I don't even like calling it woke shit, but like the like the gender shit, and it's got a lot of that stuff. Like it's funny, it's a genuinely funny show, but it's got like it's kind of doesn't know like where it wants to be. It's kind of trying to be on the fence but trying to not be on the fence, and so it's always kind of like been one of those shows that's like, all right, I'll put up with some of the shit. And I'm not one of those people that's like fucking, you know, like, oh, everything's fucking woke and annoying and gay and blah, 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 blah. But when it gets to like a certain point where it's like, dude, it's in every fucking show, and it's like, you know, they're trying to preach to you about some shit about, you know, so that's like where I get annoyed. But this show never really did that. And there's an episode that they do where the chick, it's about a chick who's like a stand-up comedian. She's like an older lady who's been a stand-up comedian for years and trying to like restart her career, and she's working with this young writer, and the young writer like teaches her how to be woke and fucking, that's not the whole show, you know. It's just like kind of like, it happens occasionally, you know what I mean? There'll be a situation where she's like, oh, don't do that, it's not fucking culturally acceptable. She's like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. And so this chick's trying to get like a late night show, because that's where I'm like, comedians don't even want late night anymore, you know what I mean? Like, this is where the show kind of lost me. Or like, oh, this is what they think that comedians want, like. And it was a little ridiculous too, because she has like a viral video, and then she's like all of a sudden this superstar. Like, it's like she was already a famous comedian. Like, she wouldn't get that much more famous, like, to where, you know what I mean? It was like she was a Vegas act, and then it just all seemed kind of silly to me. I was still on board. I'm still kind of on board. It's a good show. It still has some good shit. But then there's an episode where she's like at a college, and she's like, they're like, oh, some of your old jokes have come up. And she's like, no, you never apologize for jokes, which was right. They should have, like, you know, if you're a comedian, and I'm not a comedian, but like, as a stand-up comedy fan, like, yeah, you can't apologize for fucking jokes. So she's like, there's this one girl, the one that made me laugh the most was this, it was like a Middle Eastern chick, and she's talking about how this lady did jokes about 9/11, and because she did jokes about 9/11, like, her family got targeted by, like, you know, racists, and they said mean shit to her, and this, that, and the other. And she thought that this comedian should apologize for that. It's like, so you're mad at the comedian for making light of a shitty situation rather than your nation's leaders and politicians who lied us into the Iraqi war. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, and obviously it's a show, so they can't go that in depth, but it's just like this fucking retard sitting here being like, your jokes caused my family pain. And it's like, no, like, the people that lied us into a war with people that we shouldn't have even been to war with are the ones that cause you pain. And the comedian didn't do that. She was just making fucking jokes. And then she apologized. It's like, dude, what the fuck are we doing here? So that kind of was like, all right, this is made me lose a bit of respect for the show. Because up until then it had done all right of kind of towing the line of, like, you know, obviously everything's political these days, but if you can be right down the middle, like, you should be able to fucking talk shit about both people, left and right. If somebody says something about the Democrats and it makes you feel butthurt, there's something wrong with you. If somebody says something about the Republicans and makes you feel butthurt, there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? It's like, you should just care about the betterment of our community and our fucking country. That's all. That's the bottom line. Back to reselling. Should I? No, I was gonna try to say something, but I just completely, like, lost my train of thought. I was on my soapbox for a minute. I should go back to these marbles and just start describing them, each one. There's a big yard sale coming up, like, in 2 weeks. It's like the big one. It's called like this something estate sale. I forget what it is. It's not even like an estate sale, but, and I guess this year they're not allowing vendors, which sounds pretty sick. I always get there crazy early. Sometimes you can get there too early, where, like, you miss this shit. You know what I mean? Like, because you hit one side and then you go back to the other side, and like, people haven't been set up yet. But there's just, like, a ton of people that set up in this whole community. And every year I do well. Last year was really rainy and shitty, so I'm hoping that this year, like, it got rained out last year, and they don't do a rain date. So I'm hoping that this year is nice weather. It doesn't get rained out. There's no vendors. Should be able to find some good shit to flip. I found, you find tons of shit. So it's a good time. I'm going to see if I can't find some friends to come with me, because I'm going to have my fucking kids. So I might see if the neighbors have, like, a better wagon that I can borrow. because of course my wife works that weekend. I've been trying to tell her to get that shit off. I've been begging her, like, yo, get that fucking day off. Get it off. So, but she's like, hasn't been able to get it off. So we'll see. We're supposed to go on a date tonight. It's my wife and I's anniversary. We've been together for 12. I only know this is my wife fucking reminded me the other day. So we've been together for 12 years and married for 6. So 6 years married? That doesn't sound right. Yeah, I guess 2018 we got married, yeah. So, yeah, 6 years. Wow. 6 years, dude. So, yeah. So that'll be fun. We'll go for our anniversary is a couple days ago. So we're just going out for like dinner, like while our kids have pizza with their grandmother. That's what we're going to do. So, yeah. Fantasy football. I'll do the last fantasy football for the last 5. So I've got a fantasy football draft this weekend. In-person draft. Those are always fun. I like that better. It's stressful, though, because you got to kind of pay attention more. So I don't think I'm going to drink. Like, I'm going to drink maybe, like, start of the 10th round. Like, it's going to be a while till I drink. I say that, and then I get there, and I'm, like, fucking cracking beers. Like, but at least this time I drink Bud Light. Like, I didn't drink Bud Light last year. And that's not, like, again, they don't sponsor me or anything. And I don't drink it because I'm like, oh, for any other reason other than I like the twist, the aluminum, the 16-ounce aluminum cans that you can close. You know, it's the only reason I drink them. Because I'm like, if I drink IPAs, I'll get fucked up too quick and get crazy heartburn, like as an adult, and hungover. And so now I'm just like, I drink Bud Light. And, like, the only time I get hungover out Bud Light is if I'm, like, taking shots with it. Or there was one time I did get hungover drinking Bud Light, and I was drinking the cans. Because you have the cans, you got to fucking open them and drink them fast. Like, the aluminum, the 16-ounce aluminum tall boy cans, like they're not the tall boys, but the ones with the twist-off can that you can twist back on. Those ones you can take the top off and put it back on, so like it stays carbonated for a lot longer, and so you don't have to sit there and chug it. Like with the cans, you got to open it, and if you don't drink that Bud Light in fucking under 5 minutes, it's gross. You know what I mean? Like it just is not going to be good. But I feel like they stay colder in the other ones too. It's just, I don't know. So that's why I drink those. So this is my first year drinking those. So we'll see how that goes. And, yeah, hopefully it does. I do well. I did the mock draft the other day, but it's hard because it wasn't the same format as our league. So everybody's kind of drafting a different way. So it's kind of hard to gauge. But it is good to get familiar with names. I've been watching a little bit more of the preseason than I actually have in the past. But yeah, it'll be nice to not have to worry about 2 leagues. Because last year, I think that kind of hurt my eBay business. You know what I mean? I'm focused on like that shit when I could be focused on my other thing. So and I've been better about. I actually started using my tablet. Like I always was like, why do people have tablets and phones? I always just use one or the other. And like the other day, I'm like, oh, I can do a mock draft on my tablet and then list stuff on my phone. So that's what I did. So. I was today years old when I figured out that I could use both of my devices at the same time. Go figure. So, all right. Well, we're getting into the tail end of the podcast. That's another hour. Whew. If you like the show, tell your friends. You know, fucking tell them to follow me. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow me on social media. I've got the Whatnot show coming up soon. I think there's a weekend of September 20th. So I'm hoping that I'm going to try to lock it down this weekend. Because I got a buddy I'm going to see this weekend. So I'm going to see if he can do it that weekend, see if that works. And then, yeah, just lock it down and do that. And then, what else was I going to say? I don't remember. There was something else I was going to mention. The whatnot thing. If you listen to Spotify and you're looking for something else to stream, I have a playlist, Choice Nugs Only. It's my face. I'm wearing rainbow sunglasses, and I have 2 nugs of weed for headphones. So that's how you know it's me. And there's like over 600 songs. It's a lot of hip hop, but it's a mix of stuff. And so you can listen to that while you're listening, in between listening to episodes. If you need a break from my podcast, like you're binging, you go back and you're like, I just need to listen to them all again. You take a quick break, and then you can get back into it. You listen to some Choice Nugs, and then you get back and you're listening to the podcast. Anyway, that's the show. Hopefully this weekend goes well, and I hope you guys find a lot of shit out there on the yard sale trail. And we'll suck each other's dicks next week. Bye.